Welcome everyone to the class of risk management and derivatives. Already we have finished for the concept of risk analysis on capital budgeting. Now we are discussing the concept of derivatives. And while discussing the concept of derivative in last 2 3 classes, I have theoretically explained you how derivatives came in picture. So when we look into the emergence of derivatives, actually no one knows till like from when we as a human are using derivatives, but initially the purpose of using derivative was basically to use derivative as a risk minimization instrument. So initially the individuals who used to act on derivative market, they were basically hedgers, and the strategy what they used to follow, that was called hedging. So derivative was all about initially, traditionally, when we look into derivatives instruments. So derivatives was looked as a risk minimization instrument. Okay, risk minimization instrument. It was looked into as a risk minimization instrument. And when we looked derivative as a risk minimization instrument, so the ideology which we used to work on derivative was the hedging. Okay, so now when we work on hedging to work on derivatives, so that they were two individuals used to be there. One is called long hedger. There's a long hedger, and the another one is called short hedger. Okay, so here we have two individuals. One is called long hedger. The another one is short hedger. Long hedger is the person who take long position. Long hedger is the person who take long position on the derivative contract, and the short hedger is the person who takes short position on the derivative contract. So basically we don't use the word called buyer and seller here. So when we talk about derivatives here, we'll not use the word called buyer or seller here, because buyer and seller, whenever we are using the term buyer and seller, we can use in the transaction what we do in the spot market. So the transaction what we do on the spot market, okay, so at the present determined condition, if you go and buy any commodity, then you will either act like a buyer or you will either act like a seller. Okay, so here in this case, here in this case, uh, here in this case, when we talk about, here we are talking about a transaction. Here we are talking about a transaction which will do in the future based upon the present determined condition. So we cannot use the word buyer and seller. Here we use a word called hedger. So long hedger, short hedger. Long hedger is the person who take long position on the derivative contract. Short hedger is the person who takes short position on the derivative contract. Okay, so when we talk about derivatives, in the case of derivatives, we are talking about a transaction which we'll do in the future based on the present determined condition. So whatever is the present determined condition, on the basis of present determined condition, a person who agrees to buy the underlying asset in the future and a person who agrees to sell that underlying asset in the future, both of them come together and they both of them mutually decides the terms of the contract which they will do in the future based upon the present determined condition, and that is what we called as derivatives. Okay, so initially derivative was looked as an hedging instrument, and the players who were involved in the derivative transactions, they were either long hedger or short hedger, and their overall objective is somehow how they can manage the fluctuation of the price risk. The sole intention why the any individuals, either long position holder or short position holder, the sole intention of them being participating in the derivative instrument is to minimize the concern over the uncertainty over the price risk, because we as a normal individual, we can never predict the demand and supply in the future. We don't know how it will react. We don't know what going to happen with demand and supply parameter. If demand will be more than supply, so automatically the price of the underlying asset will increase. While if supply is more than demand, then the price of the underlying asset will decrease. So if we are a buyer and if demand is more than supply in future, then we would be in the position of getting loss. And if we are a seller and if the supply become more than demand, then we to survive will end up in getting loss over the product which we have already manufactured or which we already bought from other person to sell in the market. So we all as a normal individual always had a concern over the price. Okay, so the price can either go up or either go down. So in order to minimize this concern, if we can do the deal of the transaction which we'll do in the future based upon the present determined condition, that is what we call as derivatives. That is a very simple meaning of the term derivative. And normally this form of derivative transaction where the two parties they mutually decide the terms of the contract over which they will do transaction in the future. This kind of transaction is called OTC based transaction. OTC based transaction. OTC based transaction basically means over the counter. OTC basically means over the counter transaction. These forms of transaction are basically OTC. OTC means over the counter. Okay, so here over the counter transactions are basically those transactions where you don't have any intermediary in between. Okay, so two parties they mutually decide the terms of the contract on this pre-decided terms. They will go ahead with the transaction in the future. Okay, that is called as over the counter. And the best example for over the counter derivative instrument, the best example is forward contract. So the earliest known derivative instrument is the forward contract. This is the most basic example of the derivative instrument, which we called as the forward contract. Okay, so when we talk about the difference between forward contract and future contract, we'll understand like how the forward contract works. Forward contract, although it contains the problem of default risk, okay, but even then, in generally, that in between the transaction between the banks or banks with corporate, forward contract is more randomly is being used in forex market and all. You'll see more of forward contract on forward contract transaction which is being carried upon. Okay, so forward contract was the earliest known derivative instrument. So, and this derivative instrument where we are deciding the terms of the contract over which will ultimately will do the transaction in the future. So the price which is being prefixed, the price which is prefixed here, that price is called as exercise price. That price we called as exercise price or settlement price. Okay, so in the case of option market, we'll call that as a strike price. So this is called an exercise price or settlement price. So exercise price or settlement price is basically the price, okay, which is prefixed between the long and short position holder. And on this prefixed price, both of them gonna do the transaction in the future. So this prefixed price over which the both the long and short position holder they will do the transaction in the future. That prefix price is called as exercise price or settlement price. So on this exercise price or settlement price, the both the long position holder and short position holder will agree upon the transaction. Okay, so this is called exercise price or settlement price. This is the price which is being fixed. I hope you people are understanding this. So this is how the derivative instrument earlier used to be, where the two parties used to mutually decide, and on that pre-decided terms they used to follow the transaction in the future. Okay, I hope you people understood this. Now, the problem with the forward contract, when we talk about forward contract, the problem with the forward contract was that the forward contract contains the problem of default risk. So it contains the problem of default risk, okay, where there is a possibility that one of the person can run away from the contract. there could be a possibility that one of the person will not follow the contract in the future, because it was this forward contract was decided based on the mutual trust between the two person, and it was believed that the two person will follow the transaction in the future. Okay, so imagine there's a transaction which was agreed upon between a farmer. Maybe there's a transaction which is agreed upon between the farmer and the trader. The farmer told to the trader, that farmer told that he'll give him 10 kg of potato. Farmer told to the trader that he'll give him 10 kg of potato, and trader told him that he'll buy this potato at the rate of 11 rupees per kg. So this 11 rupees per kg, uh, this 11 rupee per kg is called as exercise price or the settlement price, and the total value of the contract and the total value of the contract and the total value of the contract was 110 rupees. This total value of the contract was 110 rupees, where the farmer and trader, they decided that after 2 months the farmer will give 10 kg of potato to the trader, and trader will buy this 10 kg of potato at 11 rupees per kg, and maybe they decided that they will do the transaction after 2 months. Okay, so this all is being agreed upon between the farmer and the trader. So here trader is acting like a long hedger. Here the trader is acting like a long hedger, and the farmer is acting like a short hedger. And the farmer is acting like a short hedger. Here the farmer is acting like a short hedger. Okay, so because farmer has a concern that the price of potato may decrease in the future. Okay, we never know, right? So like this farmer, there would be a lot of farmers, and once the harvesting everything is done, they all can come to the market flooding with the potatoes. So they definitely, then the trader would able to negotiate much more in efficient way with the other farmers, and they end up in buying the potatoes at lesser price, and farmer had to end up in selling the potato at lesser value. So here it would be good for the farmer if the farmer can agreed upon a derivative transaction with a trader, because the farmer had a concern that the potato price can fall in the future. Same goes with the trader. When we talk about a trader, the trader who, maybe this trader, he sells this potato some potato chips company. Maybe this trader sell these potatoes to some potato chips company. Now for the trader, it is always important that he should buy this potato at a lesser value. Okay, so in order to buy this potato at the lesser value, what the trader want, what the trader want to do transaction. The trader want to buy potatoes. Okay, and the trader always want to buy potato at the least price. Okay, we always want to do transaction at the minimum value, right? As a buyer, we always want that. So we never know that it can be scenario that maybe because of rain or maybe because of any unexpected situation, we know how the farming is acted in our country. So we, like in India, we follow intensive mode of agriculture, and because we follow this intensive mode of agriculture, because of that reason, it happens that many times we could not able to grow that much productivity what we are expecting to grow. So because looking into the crops, what we have kharif crops, we have rabi crops, and now it depends on different crops require different climatic condition, and we are heavily dependent in India on weather. We are highly heavily dependent in India on the natural resources to get the maximum utility. Okay, so because of that reason, when we look into, always a scenario that the crops are getting impacted because of unexpected scenario. So the farmer, if the trader, talking not farmer, if the trader is the person, if the trader is the person who keep on who need potatoes as an inventory, so then that the trader always want that he should end up in getting the potatoes at the lesser value, and in order to get the potato at the lesser value, So trader can be always would be uncertain. So what trader can do? Trader can agreed with the farmer that yeah, let do the transaction at this agreed upon price, and then we'll do this transaction. So here you can understand either you are a long position holder or you are short position holder. We always have, and this form of derivative instrument where the overall idea is to minimize the risk over the price of underlying asset this is example of a hedging instrument, and where the trader would act like a long hedger and the farmer would act like a short hedger, and the value of the contract was 110 rupees. It is a OTC based transaction where the two parties decided based upon the mutual convenience on what value they will do the transaction in the future. Okay, so tomorrow, during the settlement of the contract, it can happen that the potato price will remain at 11 rupees only. So if the potato price remain at 11, then then it doesn't matter you are a farmer or trader. You will neither feel happy, you neither feel sad, because you agreed that we'll do transaction at 11 rupees per kg, and actually the price is 11 rupees kg only. So you will be very happily, either you are trader or farmer, very happily will do the transaction at that value. Okay, but what can happen? It can happen. There can be scenario. Imagine instead of potato price being 11, imagine price become 18 rupees per kg. Suppose if the price of potato, what can happen after 2 months? After 2 months, the actual price of potato in the spot market, the actual the actual price of potato, it can be the actual price of potato, it can be the actual price of potato, after 2 months, the actual price of potato, it can be either 11 per kg, 11 rupee per kg. So for both of them, for long hedger or for short hedger, either you're long hedger or you are a short hedger, you're long hedger or you are a short hedger. So for you, no profit, no loss. No profit, no loss. No profit, no loss. Okay. Then if you are then if the price become 18 rupees per kg, suppose. So if the price become 18 rupees per kg, then please understand, then the same potato which is there in the market at 18 rupees per kg, the farmer has agreed to give to the trader at 11 rupees per kg. So in that case, trader will be in huge profit, trader will be in profit, and the farmer will be in loss, because now the same potato, if the farmer can go and try to sell in the market, the farmer can make 18 rupees per kg, but to agreed upon the transaction what he has committed with the trader, the farmer end up in giving the same potato to the trader at 11 rupees per kg, and thereby trader will make a profit of 7 rupees per kg, and the farmer will make a loss of rupees per kg. Okay, so I hope you're understanding. We don't know what's going to happen to the price of underlying asset in the market. Maybe the price become 8 rupees per kg. So if the price become is per kg, in that case, the in that case, the trader will be at loss and the farmer will be at profit. So if the price become 8 rupees per kg, if the price become 8 rupees per kg, that scenario, the same potato which is actually people are buying at 8 rupees per kg, the trader has to buy from farmer at 11 rupees per kg. Okay, and while farmer would be very happy, because for that reason only the farmer went into the derivative contract, because he had that concern mind that maybe in the future the price of the underlying asset can fall. For that reason only the farmer has agreed upon to the contract, and what he worried about as an farmer, that actually happened, and the prices actually went below the 11 rupees per kg. So 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 but here, because farmer and trader has agreed at 11 rupees per kg, so they had to uh, so uh, so they had to do the transaction at that value at 11 rupees per kg. They left with no option because they agreed that they will do transaction at 11 rupees per kg. So they have to do the transaction at 11 rupees per kg. So I hope you are getting me. So we never know what can happen to the price of underlying asset in the future. Whatever the value we agreed upon, in the case of derivative instrument, we have to follow the transaction agreed upon value, because this is how the transaction occurs. So whatever the value it was agreed upon, both the parties, they have to transaction. In the case of forward contract, the forward contract contains the problem of default risk, where it was being seen that one of the parties, instead of following the transaction, many times they run away from following the transaction. They do not follow the transaction. Okay, so they do not follow the transaction. They run away from following the transaction, and because of this reason, the default happens. So when we talk about forward contract, when we talk about forward contract contains the problem of default risk. Forward contract contains the problem. When we talk of forward contract contains the problem of default risk. Contain the problems of default risk, where there is a possibility that one person will run away from the contract. There is a possibility that one person will not follow the contract, what is being supposed by the person to follow. So that is the problem with the forward contract. So if one person run away from the contract, then that scenario is called default risk, means he has defaulted. He has not delivered what he has promised. So forward contract derivative instrument basically works on trust. It basically works on the scenario that one person will not default. Okay, so in India also, when derivative contract was introduced in our country, when after LPG liberalization, privatization, globalization, when all that happened in our country, and when after the Harshad Mehta scam and other scenario, when government, when SEBI had decided that they're gonna allow derivative transaction in our country after curving the Badla transaction. So Badla transaction or carry forward transaction was curved, was totally closed in our country, and now that Badla transaction was replaced by the derivative transaction. So when government came up with allowing derivative transaction in the stock market in our country, government made sure that they do not allow OTC based derivative transaction. So in India, as a normal individual, as a retail investor, or as a or as in stock market participants, you are not allowed to participate in the derivative, probably OTC based derivative transaction. If you want, you can trade on futures, you can trade on options, but you are not supposed to trade on forward contract. Normally banks used to participate more or forward contract. Okay, normally corporates, till certain extent, are allowed to participate in the forward contract whenever they want to hedge the currency risk. Okay, like you are either export oriented company or you are import oriented country companies, you always have a concern over the fluctuation of the currency. So because your receivable or payable depends on that. So for those people, for trade finance purpose or for export finance purpose, they are allowed to participate, but till certain extent. So forward contract or OTC based instruments are normally not allowed for normal individuals in country like India. In a foreign country, the scenario may be different, but in India it is not like that. So forward contract, the problem with the forward contract was the forward contract contained the problem of default risk. Okay, so in order to minimize this concern of the forward contract, which is having the problem of default risk, so somewhere in 19th century, the group of farmers and traders, they came together and they led the foundation of something called exchange. So then they said that between the long position holder and short position holder, there will come an intermediary which we call as exchange. So this exchange will follow the concept of novation. This exchange will follow the concept of novation. So novation concept basically means that the buyer need to worry who is the seller. The seller need to not to worry who is the buyer. So for the buyer, the exchange will act like a short position holder. For the buyer, the exchange will act like a short position holder, and for seller, the exchange will act like a long position holder. So there not be any worry about who is the buyer, who is the seller. Exchange will act like a counterparty for all your transactions. So this laid the foundation of exchange. So somewhere in 19th century, the group of farmers and traders, they came together and they laid the foundation of first exchange, like Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Then it was developed to form other exchanges, Chicago Butter and Egg Board. Okay, then Kansas Trade Association. So there are a lot of exchanges emerged in different part of world. In India, we had Bombay Cotton and Trade Association. Okay, so in different part of world, different exchanges came in picture. The sole idea of exchange is to act like a intermediary between buyer and seller. Now buyer need not need to worry who's the seller. The seller need not need to worry who's the buyer. So exchange will act like a counterparty for buyer and seller. And this form of a forward contract where the exchange comes in picture between the long and short position holder. And here the exchange will decide the terms of the contract, and both long and short position holder has to follow the terms of contract as per what exchange have decided for them. Okay, so like in India, we have derivative segment which are traded over exchange in the form of futures and option segment. So you can trade on index future, index option, stock future, stock options. So when we trade, we have defined contract. We have 1 month contract, 2 month contract, 3 month contract, and all these contracts expires on the last Thursday of every month in the case of financial derivative. So when we talk about the transaction, when we talk about the derivative instrument which are defined by the exchange, they have defined periods of maturity. They have defined date when they'll mature. Okay, so everything is being decided by the exchange. It's like not every commodity can trade over the exchange. Okay, you are getting me right. So if you read the commodity market modules, you can easily understand it's not like all commodities are trading over NCDX or MCX platform, which are well-known commodity exchange in our country. Either it's MCX or NCDX. So it's like very limited commodities are trading over the exchange, and that too they have a defined maturity and they have defined value, that one contract equal to how much unit of the underlying asset. All that is being defined, and you cannot impose your condition over the settlement here. Here, whatever exchange decides, you need to follow that forms of transaction. So then a new form of derivative instrument got emerged in the market, and this forward contract which is trading over the exchange, the forward contract which is trading over the exchange, this forward contract which is trading over the exchange, this forward contract which is trading over the exchange, this forward contract which is trading over the exchange, where the exchange decide the terms of the contract. This forward contract which is trading over the exchange, okay, which is trading over the exchange, okay, which is trading over the exchange to minimize the possibility of default risk, to minimize the possibility of default risk, to minimize the possibility of default risk, to minimize the possibility of default risk is called future contract. So this form of forward contract which trades over the exchange, and which this form of form of forward contract which trades over the exchange, which sole objective is to minimize the possibility of default risk, that is called as future contract. Anyone, any doubt? Okay, so this led the emergence of future contract in the market. So the future contract is the more advanced form of forward contract. Forward contract contains the problem of default risk. So this default risk is minimized here over the exchange because exchange take that risk of default. Okay, the exchange makes sure that the default does not happens. Okay, so for the long position holder, exchange act like a short position holder. For short position holder, exchange act like a long position holder, thereby making sure there will not be any possibility of default. So how exchange minimize the possibility of default in the case of future contract? So when we talk about future contract, so in the case of future contract, when in the case of future contract, in the case of future contract, both in the case of future contract, both long and short position holder. In the case of future contract, both long and short position holder, both long and short position holder have to deposit an amount with the exchange at the beginning of the contract only. So in the case of future contract, both long and short position holder have to deposit initial margin. They both have to deposit initial margin, okay, at the beginning of the contract. At the beginning of the contract. At the beginning of contract only, the moment when the contract starts, at that time only the both long and short position holder have to deposit an amount with the exchange. That amount we called as the initial margin amount. So whenever the contract starts, so the both long and short position holder, they have to deposit an amount with the exchange. This is kind of what is a collateral. Initial margin is like a collateral with both long and short position holder. They have to deposit with the exchange at the beginning of the contract only. So this initial margin with both the long position and holds short position holder deposit with the exchange. This is like a collateral amount. Okay, exchange does not keep this amount idle with themselves. Exchange follow something called mark to market settlement. Exchange follow something called mark to market settlement. Exchange follow mark to market settlement of the initial margin amount. Exchange follow mark to market settlement of the initial margin amount with what the long and short position holder has deposited with the exchange. Whatever the initial margin amount with the long and short position holder has deposited with the exchange, exchange does not keep that money idle with themselves. Instead of keeping that money idle with themselves, exchange follow mark to market settlement. And by following mark to market settlement, every day the exchange makes sure that exchange will do debiting or crediting of the money from each person account to do the mark to market settlement till the end of the maturity of the contract. And finally, on the day of maturity, the final transaction happens. So the concept of mark to market settlement, initial margin account, maintenance margin account, variation margin account, all this become very significant in the case of future contract transaction. So future contract transaction is being done over the exchange, and exchange take responsibility of default risk. Exchange makes sure the default does not happen. So how exchange makes sure the default does not happen is that both the long and short position holder, they have to deposit an amount with the exchange, which we called as the initial margin amount. This initial margin is basically calculated depending upon the risk of the underlying asset. So how much risky is the underlying asset? So that is being calculated by a portfolio of risk assessment model. Okay, so by using Prism, so there's a model of risk management developed by the exchange, which is called Prism. So that model follow a technical standard portfolio analysis of risk. So what this span construct different scenarios, and under each scenario, the span calculate the risk, and ultimately the what you say the sum product of the probability associated with each scenario with the underlying risk value associated with that will ultimately determine the initial margin. So the initial margin which the both the long and short position holder has to deposit to the exchange when the contract starts. So this initial margin is like a collateral what they have to deposit with the exchange. So exchange does not keep this initial margin idle with themselves. Instead of that, they do debiting and crediting of each person account money every day by comparing today closing price with yesterday closing price. Okay, so by comparing everyday closing price with one day before closing price, exchange do the debiting or crediting of money of one person account with the other person account, and it is being followed till the end of maturity of the contract. So I'll explain you more about how mark to market settlement happens. Okay, so that way the exchange makes sure that the default does not happen, and that way how the future contract has gained so much popularity, and it makes sure that the default risk can be avoided. So this much we'll do today class. Please ask me if you have any doubt. Okay, otherwise I'm ending the class. Thank you everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow. Anyone, any doubt? Okay guys, I'm ending the class now. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye everyone.